Individual participants in Rancho Santa Fe received up to $70,000 in rebates through the Metropolitan Water District's Cash for Grass program, says a UT report that also confirmed the MWD's $340 million rebate fund was spent in just 1 year. Here with details and tips on tapping into rebate programs are Gordon Hess with the Independent Rates Oversight Committee for the City and County's Public Utilities, and Dennis Cushman, Assistant General Manager for San Diego County's Water Authority. And Gordon, you brought up concerns about the Metropolitan Water District's turf rebate program last May. What are major concerns in this program? What are they for you?
Well, there was a couple of concerns. One is the massive amount of money that was being contemplated on the program. At that particular time, it was $150 million. Now it's turned into $450 million. The other concern I had was in oversight of the program, verification that the money is well spent.
And speaking of which, Dennis, people in Rancho Santa Fe got a big chunk of this year's rebate funds. But that wealthy community was actually criticized for heavy water use, and now their water use, I understand, has dropped about 30 to 40%. So does that mean this turf rebate program has actually worked?
Well, I don't know that the Santa Fe Irrigation District would attribute that kind of conservation to turf replacement. Turf replacement has sort of an unproven past in terms of how much is conserved, and certainly soon after you replace it, you don't save much money because you got to establish new plants. I think the success that they've had in the Santa Fe Irrigation District throughout their community is on the outreach the district has done, the 2 days per week watering limit, which is in effect throughout almost all of San Diego County, and communication with their ratepayers who have rallied around the district, as have all San Diegans, on conserving water.
Let me ask Gordon, though, about this turf rebate program. So is there any sort of follow-up when somebody has applied for a rebate program, they take a picture, they get their money back? So what's the oversight? What's the follow-up once that check has been issued?
Well, I don't think there is any oversight for the residential program. You send in pictures initially, they approve your program. You send in pictures when you're done, and they send you a check. So they really do need to have at least some spot checking to make sure that these turf areas are being replaced and water is being saved. Yeah.
One question that's come up is, should these rebate programs have a cap that each individual can only get so much from a rebate program?
Well, certainly I would like to see a cap, and I think they've implemented some caps now. But the majority of the rebates that they gave, because they gave them after people had applied, and so there was a cutoff date. Those that applied before the cutoff date, there was no cap. So.
All right, and let me ask Dennis, getting back to the MWD's program, you had some concerns with that program as well. What are those?
Well, similar to what Gordon is talking about, they're simply not a rigorous control of ratepayer money. They created a frenzy of people lined up to submit for the rebates. They don't require receipts. Even now, today, they only require receipts if the project's over $100,000. So they didn't require any receipts. Our program that we operated until January of this year had very rigorous controls in place: verification, measurements, plant material approval in advance, and none of the rebate money could be used for labor. It was only for materials, and it could not exceed the cost of the materials. None of those controls are in place for the MET program.
So that brings me to you, Gordon. Do you have any tips that you would like to see implemented for managing these rebate programs more effectively?
Well, I think these types of controls that Dennis talked about, that the Water Authority apparently has on their program, I think that's a good start. But I think one control they really ought to think about is the massive amount of spending. I would like to see, rather than spending all that money on turf rebates, that perhaps they consider rebates to the ratepayers that gave that program, or to the water districts or the cities, so that we could manage our own programs, say at the City of San Diego.
I see. We're going to have to end on this, and I'll start with you, Gordon, and then I'll come to you, Dennis. Low-cost tips for replacing turf or other thirsty plants that are still available today. Any rebate programs, any tips that you have?
I would say get educated and put in the right types of plants so that you are going to save water in the long term.
And Dennis, how about you? Is there a place people can find out?
Yes, if they go to our website, whenindrought.org, that we set up as a clearinghouse of information for conservation programs and other incentives that are still available, even though turf replacement rebates are not presently available.
Sure, rain barrels for sure. I know that. Dennis Cushman and Gordon Hess, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.